Hello and welcome to the Middle School Bookmarker Show. My name is Chris.
And I'm Caitlin. We're about to react to and break down the movie Monsters Inc.
Today we're covering the first 26 minutes of the movie. That's the start of the movie until they get to the restaurant for Mike's date. You want to stop there.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to get this whole show wrapped up in just 11 minutes because 11 minutes is all you need to.
Terrify a small child and collect its screams to power your toaster. And that is the world that we have submerged ourselves into with Monsters Inc. We start off with a scary monster sneaking into a child's bedroom, and he goes to scare the child, except that it turns out it's not actually a child, and the monster is more afraid of the child than the child is of the monster. So it's a very interesting world.
Yeah, I found that scene pretty funny. You have this monster just flailing around on the floor, all tangled up in different kids' clothing and toys. It's a pretty funny image.
And slipping and falling on the jack. So he landed on him right in his butt. I've been there. I've stepped on Legos before. That is not fun.
No, it is not.
We find out also through this scene that this is a training demonstration. This isn't the real world, and they're taking this training very seriously. This training of scaring children, because this is kind of like a power company where all these monsters work at. And instead of getting electricity from nuclear power or coal or something, they get it from terrifying children.
I mean, I guess you got to do what you got to do.
That seems to be the only way to power their city. So they have this big company called Monsters Inc. The boss is that really creepy looking. He had like tentacle legs and 5 eyeballs. His name is Mr. Waternoose. He mentions a very important rule. He was big and scary. He intimidated the other monsters. He came in and he mentioned one rule that he said you must always follow. What was the rule?
Well, he claims that a single touch of these kids can kill you. So you must always not leave the door open because the children might wander into the monster world and then all the monsters would be dead.
That sounds pretty horrifying. Right from the beginning, we have two flips of our expectations. We didn't expect the monsters to be as scared of the kids as they are. And there's also this fact that a child's touch could kill a monster. I don't know about you, but I was at least a little bit suspicious about that.
I would agree. I don't know if I necessarily trust this Mr. Woodernoose. His looks don't seem very good. So I'm not trusting him so far.
Untrustworthy monsters. But while he might be an untrustworthy monster, it seems like we actually have two main characters, two protagonists who are trustworthy, who are nice guys. And we meet Mike and Sully when Mike comes over to wake Sully up, and then they end up in this really funny training sequence.
Looks like they're training to make Sully one of the best scarers. It kind of, reminded me of like a Rocky training scene or something to be the best.
Yeah, like where you would normally see a character go in and like start doing push-ups and pull-ups. This guy is practicing going from a higher point to a lower point to scare a child on a top bunk and then a lower bunk, a top bunk and a lower bunk. Again, it's this blend of Sully is a huge scary monster, but he's also a nice guy who's just drinking coffee in the morning and saying hi to kids.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely humanizes the monsters more and makes us relate to them. They're just regular people. They're two guys just doing regular factory jobs, except they're scaring monsters.
It's weird to think about that we are talking about monsters here, but they act like nice guys. You said humanizing, which means like when you have something and you treat it more like a human than you would normally. Yeah, these monsters just seem like regular working class guys that might go work at a factory or whatever, despite the fact they are actually scaring young children. It's a weird world.
Definitely is. I don't know if I necessarily want to live in it, but the monsters are kind of cute.
So after that walk to work, they end up at the Monsters Incorporated building, and we see that Sully is confirmed to be one of the best scarers. His poster is hanging up on the wall for Worker of the Month a bunch of months in a row. And then we see that Celia has a date with Googly Bear.
Yeah, that scene overall was just very cute. I was very happy for Mike again, even though he's a monster. I was rooting for them to be together. They seemed very happy.
Yeah. We said a lot about Sully. How would you describe Mike in comparison to Sully?
Mike seems a little more of like the clumsy sidekick guy. He seems has a big heart, and he also seems very good at what his job is, which is controlling the machine. I kind of like that balance of being good at two different things.
Yeah, they seem to be a good team.
Yes, a very good team.
We meet one more important character, Randall. Randall is definitely a sleazy creep. And it's not just because he can turn invisible. The first time we see him, he starts trash talking Sully and Mike, and he promises that he is going to be the top scarer. So Sully is currently the best. Randall has shown that he's kind of a little bit of a jerk, and he has this top goal of beating Sully and becoming the best scarer.
Yeah, I definitely don't trust Randall. He's kind of slithery like a snake. I wonder if they probably did that on purpose to make him look like a snake. And I just don't trust what this guy has to say or do.
Probably a good idea. Let's see if he ends up affecting these characters. The next scene actually heads from the front of the Monsters Incorporated building to the factory. In the factory, we see that it's this crazy conveyor belt of doors, and the doors get dropped into these door holder portal things. The big scary monsters, like the ones like Sully, they come out right after all their helper monsters, like Mike, set up all the doors. And there's that one scene where they're all coming out, and that big orchestra music plays. It seems like a very it's a slow-mo scene, and it seems like these guys are like heroes. It reminds me of other movies and shows that I've seen where pilots going on a dangerous mission are moving out to their aircraft.
I agree. I actually thought of astronauts when I saw it, which are very similar, but they definitely have this importance air about them.
And I think the writers, they probably put that in there to let us know that the world, the Monsters Inc. world, these people are seen as heroes. They're seen as servants. They're seen as honorable. And that's why they included that scene there. We wouldn't necessarily think that. We wouldn't think that scaring children is an honorable thing. But in this Monsters Inc. world, it is necessary, and it is something that people look up to.
Yeah, I would agree.
So everybody gets lined up. They end up throwing the doors open.
So once these monsters go through the door, it looks like they end up scaring these children, filling up these canisters, and moving on to the next one. And at some point, we see Randall takes the lead briefly. We see a little fight going on there between him and Sully.
But then Sully pops out from his door, and they didn't just fill up one can, they filled up like 15 of them. And Sully once again jumps to the top. Randall does not look very happy about that. Then probably my favorite scene of this entire first part of the movie happens, and it is because of a children's sock. This horrifyingly scary monster comes out of a door, and he ends up turning around, and everyone else sees that he's got a sock stuck to his back. That causes the entire factory to shut down. All of a sudden, there's like this SWAT team of cleaning people that show up. They end up putting a bomb cap on top of the sock and exploding it. Then they take that poor monster and they shave him down. So they have that crazy scene where the sock got stuck to the monster. What do you think that was telling us as viewers?
I found it a very interesting scene. It looks like we're supposed to be scared of this sock, but we as humans know there's no fear of a sock. To me, it seemed almost like some kind of propaganda, the amount of show that they put into decontaminating this sock. Did it really need to be that big of a show?
And yeah, so propaganda is like an advertisement or something that is almost deceptive. It kind of tricks people into believing things in a certain way. You're saying that the way that they act and treat this sock is propaganda. It's almost like a trick to get people to believe that this sock is really dangerous and that kids are really dangerous.
I think so. I think there's something going on, and that maybe the humans aren't as, bad for monsters as they're trying to make it seem.
Interesting. Well, we will see how that pans out. Well, we only got about a minute left, so let's blast through these last couple points. Another important thing that I don't know if we mentioned is that the company is in trouble. Kids are less easy to scare as the years go on, and that means the city is in danger of running out of power. That's put a lot of pressure on the company. The very last scene, it involves Sully. Sully tries to help his friend out because what did Mike forget to do again, Caitlin?
His paperwork, which I think we've all been there before.
And Sully says, "You got this date. Let me take care of this for you." And he heads back, but when he gets back to the factory floor, he sees a door there, and it shouldn't be. And through a couple circumstances, all of a sudden, this terrifying little girl pops out, and he's running away from it, and it's chasing him around, calling him kitty, and he is so scared. I wouldn't be scared of a little girl like that, probably.
No, she seemed pretty cute and lovable.
I think a lot of people that have seen this movie, the little girl ends up being called Boo. She's the highlight of it. But it's not because she is so scary, it's because she's really cute. And I think they made her look like that. The animators did.
Definitely. It seems like they put a lot of effort into making this girl seem really adorable and someone you just want to kind of hug.
And not someone that they should be running from in terror. But that's what Sully does. He runs away in terror. He tries to shove her back in the room. It doesn't work. And we see that Randall actually had brought this door out. Sully had to hide from Randall, and they end up not being able to put her back in the door in time. So now Sully is stuck. Where do you think Sully is going to go now that he's stuck with this little girl?
I would imagine he's probably going to go find Mike. I think they're going to work through this together. As we said before, they're a great team, and it seems like something that Sully would probably confide into Mike. So I think they're going to do this all together.
They've shown us so far that they tackle problems together well and they're successful. I bet that's what they're going to do right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this part. For the next part, you're going to start with that restaurant scene that you just stopped at, and you're going to watch to about 57 minutes and 50 seconds. You're going to stop when you see Sully and Mike ending up in a blizzard. As soon as they get to that snowstorm, you're going to hit pause. Thank you so much for checking out this movie with us and listening to our breakdown and reactions to it. Check out some of the other content that we have on the Middle School Bookmarkers YouTube channel, and we'll see you later.
Bye.